Converting measurements. Sometimes measurements need to be changed before you can work a problem. Okay, let's look at our example that we have here. Find the volume of this box in cubic yards. Well, let's focus in on some important terms up here. Find the volume of this box in cubic yards. How do we find the volume of something? We know how to do that. To find the volume of a box, the volume is equal to the length times the width times the height. Okay, that we know. And that's the hard part of this problem. If you know that, the rest is a piece of cake. Okay, let us now do some converting. And again, we have a calculator, but even if you didn't have a calculator, we know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So this is still a very simple problem to do. Let's look at our length here. We know this is 4 1/2 yards. Well, we can write that as the length is equal to 4.5 yards. The height is given in feet. So we're going to do two things here. First, we're going to convert 5/8 into a decimal. Then we're going to convert this into yards. So in dividing 5 divided by 8, 5 divided by 8 is the same as 5 divided by 8. Let's use a calculator for that. Let's turn it on. 5 divided by 8 equals 0.625. So we know this can be represented as 5.625 feet. Now, to convert this into yards, let's divide this by 3. You're right. So let's plug in this number. 5.625 divided by 3 equals 1.875. So that is the height. 1.875 yards. Let's erase this. Now we know the width. We know this is 18 inches, so we need to convert that into yards. Well, we know that there are 36 inches in a yard. So we're looking at determining how many yards this represents. We're looking at a ratio here. So we have 18 divided by 36. And again, let's use our trusty calculator to do this for us. We have 18 divided by 36 is equal to 0.5. So this converts to 0.5 yards. We know that the height is represented as 1.875 yards. The width is equal to 0.5 or half a yard. The length is equal to 4.5 yards. And using our formula that we know, the volume of a box, we know volume is equal to the length times the width times the height. And we have all three. So our next step then is to multiply. Clear our calculator. We have 4.5 times 0.5 times 1.875 and our equal sign. So the volume of this rectangular prism, or this box, is equal to 4.21875 cubic yards. Okay, our next step is we're going to reduce this to two places. So we know that the volume is equal to 4.2. Let's look at this place. Well, let's look at the number to the right of that, and we know it is an 8, so this now becomes 4.22 cubic yards. And here is our solution.
Como Springs, the largest springs in Texas and the Southwest. Maximum recorded discharge was 550 cubic feet per second, 355,608,000 gallons per day. At the time I took the picture, the spring flow was 339 CFS, or cubic feet per second. How many gallons of water flowed that day from the spring? Let's do the math. I have in my hand a book that I use. It has handy multipliers. And 1 cubic foot equals 7.48052, or 7.5 gallons. So let's plug in the numbers for the, find out, it's 339 cubic feet per second. So it's 339 cubic feet per second. We've got to multiply that by 60 to get our minutes. We multiply that again by 60 to get our hours, times 60. And there's 24 hours in a day, so we multiply that by 24. And that will give us how many cubic feet flowed in that spring for that one day. Now we find here 1 cubic foot equals 7.48052 gallons. So we got to multiply that number times 7.48052. So that number is 219,101,439 gallons per day. So in that day, it flowed 219,101,439 gallons on that day. This highway lane measures 12 feet. They're going to be pouring concrete on this section of the highway. This section measures 24 feet. And the thickness of this section is 16 inches. So they're going to be pouring 2 lanes at one time. If this highway extends 1 mile, how many cubic yards of concrete are needed? Let's do the math. First thing we need to do is convert all the measurements into some unified measurement. And I think the best thing to do is use feet. Of course, this is in feet. A mile equals 5,280 feet. Now you have to convert 16 inches into feet. So we take 16 divided by 12 inches equals 1.3333. And so we'll round that to 4 places. So let's do the math. Volume equals length times width times height. So let's plug in the numbers. Volume equals the length is 5,280 times the width is 24 feet times 1.3333. 5280 times 24 times 1.3333 equals. So the answer is 168,956, and that's cubic feet. But remember, the question is cubic yards of concrete. So we have to convert the cubic feet into cubic yards. Now remember again, just to refresh your memory, 1 cubic yard equals 3 feet times 3 feet times 3 feet. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. So there's 27 cubic feet in 1 cubic yard, so we have to divide that number. So divide that by 27, and that will equal 6,258, rounded up, cubic yards of concrete are needed to build this highway that is 1 mile long, 24 feet wide, and 16 inches deep.
Please pause the video now and complete the problems in your workbook. When finished, press play, and we'll continue with the next lesson.